The Aifv is a tracked light armored vehicle that serves as an infantry fighting vehicle in the armies of several countries. It is a development of the M113A1 armored personnel carrier. History. In 1967, funded by the U.S. Army, the FMC Corporation produced two prototype vehicles designated as XM765. These were based on their experiences with the earlier XM701 vehicle, developed for the MICV-65 program. The XM765 was based on the M113A1, upgraded with an enclosed turret and firing ports, so that the infantry could fight from within the vehicle. The Army evaluated the vehicle, but decided that they wanted a better protected and more mobile vehicle, selecting instead the M2 Bradley. FMC continued development as a private venture, resulting in the product improved M113A1 in 1970. The PI M113A1 had the driver and engine at the front, with an enclosed weapon station in the center of the hull and the commander seated at the rear. This arrangement meant that the commander had a very poor forward view. FMC went back to the drawing board and came up with a new design, which had the driver on the front left of the hull and the commander seated behind him. To the right of the commander was a one-man turret. The vehicle would later be designated the Aifv. While the U.S. was uninterested in the design, a number of other governments were interested in the vehicle, which was simpler, lighter, and cheaper than the Bradley. After a series of demonstrations and the delivery of 4 evaluation vehicles in 1974, the Netherlands government placed an order for 880 of the vehicles in 1975, which were designated YPR 765 when they entered service. Some changes were made at the request of the Dutch government, including shifting the weapon station to the right side and moving the commander behind the driver. The Netherlands ordered 2,079, of which 815 were produced locally under license. Under the YPR 2000 program, virtually all Dutch vehicles were upgraded to YPR 765A1 standard and are easily identified by the 3-tone NATO camouflage pattern. During the war in Afghanistan, several vehicles were fitted with additional armor. The Philippines also received 45 vehicles in 1979. These were intended to take 25mm cannons, although some were later modified to fit 12.7mm machine guns. In 1979, Belgium placed an order for 514 Aifv along with 525 M113AB. The first vehicles were delivered in 1982. Turkey selected the Aifv in 1989, after a competition involving the Elvis Vickers Warrior Aifv and United Defense LP armored infantry fighting vehicle. The total value of the contract for 1,698 vehicles was $1.076 billion. The first 285 hulls were produced in Belgium. The remaining vehicles were produced entirely in Turkey. A little way into the production run, with 200 vehicles completed, the Turkish Aifv specification was updated to include a more powerful power pack developing 300 horsepower, an Allison X200-4 transmission and hydrostatic steering from the M113A3. During the production run, a number of changes were made to the armament of the vehicle, including different turret packages and power packs. Description: the hull of the vehicle is made of welded aluminum, with spaced steel laminate armor bolted onto the side and front. The voids of the armor are filled with polyurethane foam, which gives the vehicle extra buoyancy when traveling in the water. The engine sits on the front right of the hull, behind a hatch that can be used to remove the complete power pack. The power pack is similar to the M113A1, except for a larger radiator capacity and turbocharger. The transmission is also fitted with heavy-duty components from the M548 tracked cargo carrier. Immediately to the left of the engine is the driver, above whom is a hatch that opens to the right. The driver has 4 M27-day periscopes. The driver's center periscope can be replaced by a passive infrared periscope for night driving. The commander sits immediately behind the driver and has a cupola that can be completely traversed. The cupola has 5 periscopes, 4 of which are M17-day periscopes. The fifth has 1x to 6x variable magnification. The turret is fitted on the right side of the hull behind the engine. The turret, which has electro-hydraulic traverse, can elevate from -10 to +50 degrees and can traverse an elevator to speed of 60 degrees sec. The turret mounts an Alicon Contrav's 25mm KBABO2 cannon with a dual ammunition feed and 180 rounds of ready-use ammo, with another 144 rounds stored in the hull. Mounted to the left of this gun is a 7.62mm FN mag machine gun, which has 230 rounds of ready ammo, with a further 1,610 in the hull. The troop compartment is at the rear of the hull. A large power-operated ramp allows access through the rear of the vehicle. A door is also provided in the ramp. Additionally, a single-piece hatch covers the top of the troop compartment. The compartment contains 7 troops in the Dutch variant, with 6 sitting back-to-back facing outwards and a single passenger sitting between the commander and the turret facing backwards. There are 2 firing ports in each side of the hull and a single firing port in the rear. The side firing ports are provided with M17 periscopes. The rear one is fitted with a M27 periscope. Variants: Belgian service variants Aifv, a revised Dutch variant that was fitted with the same suspension as the M113A1B, an NBC system and a Allen fire suppression system. It entered service in September 1985. Surplus vehicles have been sold to Chile, Indonesia, and the Philippines, with the remaining carriers being phased out in favor of wheeled vehicles. Aifv BC-25 with a 25mm KBABO2 cannon, with smoke grenade launchers fitted on the side of the turret. Aifv B Milan with a Milan anti-tank missile launcher. Aifv B 50 with a 12.7mm CWS coupler, 2 Lerin 71mm mortars and a pintle mount for a Milan missile launcher. Aifv BCP command post vehicle with a 12.7mm cupola, a tent, generator and telescopic mast. Aifv BTRG driver training vehicle. Dutch variants: YPR 765 Pre, basic infantry fighting vehicle with a 25mm KBABO2 cannon and a coaxial mag machine gun in a turret, crew of 3+7 passengers, outward-facing bench seats in the rear compartment. YPR 765 Pre 50, armored personnel carrier with a 50 caliber M2HB machine gun on an M113 type cupola in place of a turret. YPR 765 PRCO series. YPR 765 PRCOB company commander's vehicle with the same turret as the crew of 6+2 passengers, folding table in the rear compartment with 2 inward-facing seats on either side. YPR 765 PRCOC-1 Battalion Commander's vehicle with a 50 caliber M2 HB machine gun on an M26 cupola, crew of 5 plus 4 passengers, folding table in the rear compartment with a 3-seat bench on the left and 2 seats on the right, all facing inward. YPR 765 PRCOC-2 Battalion Fire Control Center with a 50 caliber M2 HB machine gun on an M26 cupola, crew of 7 plus 1 passenger, rear compartment as for C1. YPR 765 PRCOC-3 Mortar Fire Control Vehicle with a 50 caliber M2 HB machine gun on an M26 cupola, crew of 4 plus 1 passenger, a folding table in the rear compartment, with 2 inward-facing seats on left. YPR 765 PRCOC-4 Anti-Aircraft Command Vehicle with a 50 caliber M2 HB machine gun on an M113 type cupola, crew of 5 plus 2 passengers, folding table in the rear compartment with an inward-facing 3-seat bench on the left. YPR 765 PRCOC-5 Observation Vehicle for Artillery Units with a 50 caliber M2 HB machine gun on an M113 type cupola, crew of 5, rear compartment as for C3. YPR 765 PRRDR Radar Vehicle fitted with a ZB-298 Battlefield Surveillance Radar, armed with a 50 caliber M2 HB machine gun on an M113 type cupola, crew of 4 plus 2 passengers, folding table in the rear compartment, with 1 inward-facing seat on either side. YPR 765 PRRDRC Radar Command Vehicle, withdrawn. YPR 765 PRGWT Ambulance Vehicle, unarmed, crew of 3 plus 5 passengers, rear compartment has 2 forward-facing seats on the left, bins for the personal equipment of the wounded on either side, and can hold 2 stretchers on either side, suspended from chains. YPR 765 PRMR Tractor for M0120 RT 120 mm mortar with a 50 caliber M2 HB machine gun on an M26 cupola, crew of 7, including mortarmen. Rear compartment has an inward-facing 3-seat bench on the left and a mortar ammunition rack on the right. YPR 765 PRV Cargo Vehicle with a 50 caliber M2 HB machine gun on an M113 type cupola, crew of 2, empty rear compartment with a folding safety screen between the crew and cargo. YPR 765 Pratt Tank Destroyer armed with an Emerson tow under armor turret as on the M901 Aifv and a mag machine gun on a pintle mound, crew of 4, rear compartment holds a rack with missile reloads on the left, an inward-facing bench seat and various equipment on the right. YPR 806 PRBRG Armored Recovery Vehicle. In fact, it is based on a modified M113 chassis and hull but using Aifv automotive components. Philippine service variants. The Philippine Army uses a mixed variant of earlier Aifvs similar to the Dutch YPR 765, and later variants from Turkey based on the ACV 300. Aifv 25 Basic Infantry Fighting Vehicle armed with a 25mm KBAB-02 cannon and a coaxial machine gun. Aifv ARV Armored Recovery Vehicle. ACV 300 APC, with a 12.7mm M2 machine gun in a shielded gun cupola. ACV 300 ARV, Armored Recovery Vehicle. Turkey Service Variants ACV APC, with a one-man turret with a 12.7mm machine gun and a 7.62mm machine gun, 13 troops carry. ACV Aifv with FMCEWS turret with a 25mm Alicon Contravs 25mm cannon and a coaxial 7.62mm machine gun. Aifv with GIAT Dragar turret with a 25mm M811 cannon and a coaxial 7.62mm machine gun. ACV ATV, Armored Tow Vehicle, fitted with a Norwegian one-man turret with two BGM-71 tow missiles in a ready-to-launch position, and 4 troops carry. ACV AMV, Armored Mortar Vehicle, fitted with an 81mm mortar and a 7.62mm machine gun. Turkish Private Variants 120mm AMV, a private venture armed with a TDA 120mm recoiling mortar in the rear of the vehicle. Not in service. ACV Aifv Sharpshooter, Aifv with FNSS Sharpshooter turret. This variant is now being exported to Malaysia. ACV with HMTS, armed with 4 Hellfire missiles in the ready-to-fire position. ACV 300, fitted with a 300 horsepower power pack similar to the M113A3, but with high power. Template clarification needed. ACV 350, fitted with a 350 horsepower power pack. ACV-S, a stretched version of the Aifv with an additional road wheel and extra armor giving resistance to 14.5mm AP projectiles, with an upgraded 350 a 400 horsepower power pack. Weight is 18,000 kg. A variety of turrets are available, including 12.7mm, 25mm and 30mm, as well as an Eric's missile launcher and 120mm mortar turret. UAE variants ACV RV, ACV ASV, ACV AFOV, ACV ACPV. Note, all are ACV 350 and fitted with air conditioning and an overpressure NBC system. Operators. Current operators: Bahrain, 25 Netherlands origin YPR 765 ACV delivered in 1996, 42 Belgium origin Aifv delivered in 2008, 8 Belgium origin Aifv APC delivered in 2008. Belgique 190 of 514 vehicles originally delivered, being replaced by MAWAG Piranha 3. Chile, YPR 765s purchased from the Netherlands and 169 AIFVBs purchased from Belgium. Egypt, more than 1,000 YPR 765s purchased from the Netherlands and Belgium since 1996. Jordan, 441 YPR 765s purchased from the Netherlands, 58 AIFVBs purchased from Belgium. Lebanon, 16 ex-Belgian AIFVBC 25 vehicles. Morocco, 90 ex-Belgian AIFVBC 25 and 20 AIFVB 50, delivered 2008. Malaysia, 211 vehicles received plus previous 111 KIFV variants known as MIFV. Philippines, 58 vehicles composed of 45 AIFV 25 and 6 AIFV ARV received from the United States in 1979. 6 ACV 300 APCs and 1 ACV ARV received from FNSS of Turkey in 2010 and 2004, respectively. Turkey, 2,249 were produced under license, 1,380 times AAPC, 650 times Aifv, 48 times Aitv, 170 times AMV. United Arab Emirates, 133 vehicles received from Turkey. Serbia, 1 YPR 765 seized from the Netherlands. UN peacekeepers in war in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Islamic State, 3 YPR 765 vehicles seized from Egypt. Former operators Netherlands, over 2,000 vehicles, known locally as the YPR 765. All have been replaced by a combination of CV9035NL Fenwick and Boxer vehicles.